I'm Ezra Johnson. This is my buddy. Who are you?
My name's Matt.
You gotta tell us the camera.
I'm Matt.
This is Matt, and we're gonna have the first episode of whatever this is gonna become, and we're gonna discuss martial arts, and we'll start with your story about it. We don't have to give names if you don't want to offend anybody. Just tell a story, and we'll give our insight on our opinions of things. So go back to your story a few months ago.
So I was at a martial arts event, I guess you'd say.
And for the people out there, tell them what a martial art event is.
It's an event where martial arts is practiced. And so it was like a cross between multiple different arts, and there was so the biggest thing was there were so many traditional type mindsets is what it was.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of things going on, like, there'd be punches, and then, they'd stop during the count and their hands would be held out. And all the black belts would be walking around, of course, portraying a persona of, like, superiority over everybody.
I'm better than you.
And then, so they would, have them stop and hold, and then they'd come push on the hand.
Yeah, I knew
or
it.
hit the hand sideways, like that's supposed to
mean something.
mean like if I can knock your hand this way when a punch is designed for a forward attack, if it moves sideways
you strong,
then all of a sudden you didn't do the punch right or something.
So that's stupid. That is stupid, but you know what else?
So they'd kick their legs, like kick their knees and stuff while they're standing in their stance, like that's supposed to matter.
Well, so okay, the kick in the leg thing, the only thing I would agree with that is if they're just leg strengthening, because you do get kicked in the leg. But my guess is it's not seen if they can take a kick. Is their stance rooted enough?
Is their stance strong enough to where if you kick their knee, it won't move? Like, anybody can do that. Like, how about let me hit you with a baseball bat and see if you can take one to the chin, then you're obviously have centered chi.
Chi is. I'll make tea with my chi. No.
Yeah.
So punching it like that is kind of because for one, we don't punch like that.
Yeah.
Like even boxers, even from like if you want to be karate or sport martial arts, have your hands down, you don't go.
Yeah, and wait.
That could have killed you. Yeah, that's kind of dumb.
Well, and nobody train like teachers, especially in traditional martial arts. They don't teach people the whys behind the hows. So if you don't understand what a punch is for, then
punch is just a punch.
Something like this right here might make sense to you or seem like it makes sense because you don't understand all the mechanics behind a punch and how the body's designed.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of traditional martial arts is blind following.
That's true.
That's really, it's because, and get this though, let's see if you agree on this, a lot of the masters, if you would, they don't have a why. It's because that's what they were showed.
Yeah.
But the thing is they create a filter in their kind of ignorant theories, if you would. But they create a kind of filter so when they come up with new ideas, it's based on flawed theories.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, most all these guys who are kicking legs and pushing hands and stuff, they're doing that because that's what was done to them when they were in the same spot.
So, for the people out there, a long time, he was actually my first martial art teacher before he decided to suck. No, he used to be my first one, but we've long separated and I've gone other ways, But we're still obviously good friends-ish. I'm only doing this for the views. I don't really like you.
That's true, because I'm so popular. Right?
Stupid. No, anyway, so if you remember back with the karate class that we were taking, because he was a black belt at the time, but he wasn't the black belt at the
the head honcho.
Yeah, he wasn't the head honcho. For the viewers out there, head honcho. No, so if you remember back when we were doing what was supposed to be Shotokan, right? At the time, yeah, because before it was, at the time it was supposed to be Shotokan.
Which pieces of it were?
Yeah,
pieces
very
of
small
it.
pieces.
Yeah, small pieces.
That's the kind of
As
piece
I
you
found
get.
out later, pieces were.
Pieces were not. Yeah. But the thing is even with our thing, but even with those schools, it's like, oh, you can't do that's not real karate, or that's not what real Shotokan is, blah 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 blah. Even the super traditional schools have that mentality, and I think that's dumb. And the reason I think it's dumb trying to stay to one type of thing anyway, but more than that, and I'm not trying to attack other people. I just think you're missing a piece that's important. That's very lacking. I sound really mean. I don't mean to sound mean. Take just Shotokan by itself. Who created Shotokan karate? Gichin Funakoshi.
Chuck Norris.
Stupid, man. Gichin Funakoshi. And if you read his book, Karate Do My Way of Life, he talks about he learned, I believe, 2 different forms of karate from 2 different instructors. And he talks about taking pieces of that and blending.
Yeah.
So even he himself modified and tried to evolve, right? So now he's passed away, and the original students he's taught, they have their own different sects. Like you got the Funakoshi Shotokan Association, you have the International or the JKA, we have a whole bunch of different karate things, and they're like, oh well, no, this is what real Shotokan is, or oh no, that's not right. This is what real Shotokan, and I'm like, man, you're missing the point having that. Yeah, it's like at that time period. Here's another thing. At that, like katas, are katas.
They're crap. Every bit of them. There's no redeemable quality.
I don't know. They teach you how to bow.
I guess it's martial arts history is the one. It's a piece of martial arts.
See, I don't look at it like that. I mean, which is true. I think Shotokan, let's just use that, or karate in general came around like 1880s, 70s, and at that time, I think katas were probably cutting edge because they're like, hey, here's a way to train by yourself with some of the techniques that we use that we teach in karate.
Yeah.
Right? And at that time, you gotta imagine, they're Okinawans or even Japanese. How big are Okinawa, the Japanese in Okinawa at the time? Not, you know?
I mean,
and so, when they fought, they trained at that time down here, but they've never faced off with boxers either.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, here's the deal about katas. It's not that... maybe there was a point in time in which they were a good idea. Maybe. But here's the problem with it. You can get everything that you would get from a kata with shadow boxing. And you can get it much better.
I agree. See, that's the thing. That's the evolution of... That's what we should be coming to. The point I was making is katas were probably cutting edge in 1880. But it's, 2022 now?
But it's hard for me to believe that people back then didn't shadow box.
Why? They didn't know what boxing was.
Yeah, but you would even like traditional classes, you have them all standing in a line, you get in your stance and you're punching in the air, right? It's the same concept. It's just instead of actually using techniques that work, you're now dumbing things down to things that never work and are completely impractical.
To be fair, the way that we practice line punches, we call it line punches, is different than a lot of how traditional schools did, because like if I want to do a reverse punch, like they'd stick the one to focus on torquing a body, right? We're doing a podcast.
Thanks a lot.
Hey, at least say hi so they don't think we're jerk.
Oh,
was that for you?
That was not supposed to be on camera.
Oh man, she looks like we're anyway. No, anyway, but instead of like, and here's another thing, that even just the sloppy hands, like at least try to like make it strong, you know, like work on, like this is the idea of doing forceful punches. That's a good idea to work on hip rotations, but they really don't do that. It's just line punch with your arms.
Yeah, but I mean, if anybody who's done martial arts for any amount of time has probably heard the phrase, "You'll fight how you train."
What's that mean?
Yeah,
for the people at home.
So, I mean, that's a really common thing to hear, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, people step into a martial arts class and they decide that they want to say that, but
and then
when
they try
actually
to
train, they don't train how they would.
I have seen in my time a few sillies. Yeah. Okay, so I think we should not attack the traditionals anymore.
I think we should attack all traditions.
Yeah,
Here's the deal. Here's a concept I think maybe not a lot of people have courage to say, or maybe they don't even think about it. Maybe they disagree with it, but here's the concept. I think the way forward for martial arts, the next step in martial arts, is to get rid of traditional martial arts systems. Not get rid of them as in don't practice the techniques anymore. I'm saying we need to stop segregating this set of techniques to Shotokan and this set of techniques to Taekwondo, and just look at every technique, and if it's effective, it's part of martial arts.
So I kind of do that in my training in a sense, because I don't really. You have what, 2 black belts, 1 black belt?
Well, technically, so I was told I have 2. I was told I have 3, but on paper, all I have record of is 1.
All right. Well, I got 3.
Well.
No, I got 1 in karate. I have 1 in taekwondo to some people. I like Tay, Anyway, taekwondo is how I always said it. And then I have 1 under Bill Wallace, Superfoot, as you know. Superfoot. So the thing I approve, or I like how it is, ever since I started the Superfoot, I originally did it as, my hero, this will be fun to add into, And then I'm like, whoa, the training methodologies and how and why, his hows and whys, is superior so far in any other striking art that I've done. Okay? So I'm like, yes. So ever since then, I've stayed with it. And so I don't like the term kickboxer or kickboxing, because a lot of people, you do kick, so you must do Muay Thai. And it's not really true, because kickboxing could be anything from kung fu to... Hi! He's got kids, man. Like, I don't know what his problem is. No, anyway, I don't like that, because everybody's like, in order to be a kickboxer, you have to do Muay Thai. That's not true. You just got to do a striking art, really, to be a kickboxer. But, in a sense, kickboxing is a better explanation. I think the superior way to strike is to learn boxing and then learn kicking, okay? Within a certain degree. There's some kicks that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like a Superfoot. We have jab cross hooks. We have uppercuts, but we only use 3 kicks. Now, the way I separate, because I also I do the Joe Louis fighting systems, and I also now do the Chuck Norris fighting systems. And I'm also going to do the Cynthia Rothrock, but only because I like her. No, anyway. But those are different arts, but they're the same. Because they base on, for example, Bill Wallace, obviously, in my opinion, has the best kicks ever. But he only uses his lead leg. The thing is, that's all he's ever needed. And that's worked for him. And it has a good... He has helped me really expand my knowledge on being able to blend punches and kicks together.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, to me, that's top notch. Joe Louis is more of the front stance, and that encompasses the many facets of boxing, because you got the Mayweather style of boxing, the Philly shell, you got the peekaboo style of boxing, and he would go through, people like the Brown Bomber Joe Louis. He's talked about Rocky Marciano, the Ali, and what have you. And to me, that idea of separating style makes more sense than a karate taekwondo way of doing it.
Yeah. Well, see, there's a differentiation to make, though.
Yeah.
There are techniques that work well for some specific people, or even training methods that work well for a specific body type or specific mentality or whatever. And then there are techniques and training methods that don't work at all and just need to be thrown.
Yeah, well, there's truth to that for sure.
So that's what I'm talking about. Like, the problem with like systemized martial arts where you have different styles is what it does is
this is the only way to do it.
Yeah, it jams the entire package down someone's throat. So if you take if you're a Taekwondo guy, then you're gonna learn all the Taekwondo stuff. But maybe only 70% of Taekwondo is actually practical and usable, but yet you have to learn this other 30% too. Why not just throw that 30% out, take the 70 and move it over here, and then keep doing that until we have a natural effect?
Unfortunately, too, we also, for the viewers at home, Taekwondo and karate in itself is not what it was. I feel like a karate
sportalized.
Even like okay, so let's go 60s. You have the original blood and guts era of martial arts. I would say that they were probably had better tenacity and I think they would beat most sport guys now.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think most sport guys now probably are better athletically.
Yeah.
But they just didn't have the brains, if you would. They had brains and brawn. Well, now we just got brawn. Well, I don't have bronze. But they got bronze. Yeah. I like donuts and pizza.
Yeah.
And but I still fight, and I still so far I've done good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So far.
Undefeated.
No. Well, so
You're
far,
undefeated.
knock on wood. Yeah.
I'm saying you're undefeated.
The only thing that defeats me is when the donut shop closes before I'm done. What are you doing?
That's your
I'm trying to be a cop.
Yeah, your training secret.
Shh.
Yeah.
I said that in my kickboxing fight. It's like, what's the secret to being a heavyweight or super heavyweight?
Yeah.
It's like donuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what they call circular martial art.
Dude, I'm telling you. I should do kung fu now. No.
Dude.
But anyway, see what I'm saying though? So like even like karate training, okay, so testing, like I hate the idea of I'm not against giving out rank. I think that's cool for an individual, like a trophy, like, hey, I've earned this milestone. The thing is they award it for crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, if you're going to do it, like, come on, be legit, because then you get people that walk around with black belts that like.
It shouldn't.
Hey, you see
like
my punch?
420 pounds.
I don't know.
Overweight.
Hold on, there's some 420 pounds dudes that are like, they'll smash.
Yeah, I mean,
and they got good
technique. Get on
technique.
top of you, but they can't catch you. So.
I'm not 420 pounds, but I'm in that category.
Because the category has no cap. It's a super heavyweight division.
No, this is the smartest thing. I ain't gotta worry about cutaway.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, do you see what I'm saying though? Like even in
rank is a
Taekwondo,
whole other issue though, because
yeah. But I mean just like the even if it's useless, the efficiency of the uselessness, if you would. So like even people that if they train like this, there's still a better caliber of fighters that did this correctly compared to people now. You know, because originally when they had to be nice and strong all the way through. Everything was firm, everything was tight, and it was just like one huge muscle all the way through. Now it's just kind of like, okay, he knows how to throw lead punch and reverse punch. Here's your yellow belt. Instead of actually being well developed in this skill, is what I'm saying. The skill levels, whether they're useless or not, you're not well trained in each of the skills anymore. It's just like, yeah, it's just a yellow belt. I can give it here.
Well, so there's pieces of things that work well that you can apply to other things. Like, so one of the things traditional punching teaches you is, if you do it well anyway, is really how to snap your body and generate a lot of force and speed in within your punch. But it does it at the expense of everything else.
Hey, by the way,
literally the only thing you're learning is that.
Real quick, I have the name of our podcast now. Okay, this is our first one, low budget, as you can tell, in his house. We're gonna call it.
This is high budget. This house costs a lot.
If you start smoking pot in here, we're calling high budget.
Ready? Have more money.
We should call it useless knowledge. Because I'm a Fort Knox of useless knowledge. We know when it comes to stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I don't think many people would listen to us.
I don't know. They might.
Maybe.
We'll see. Because maybe they like your sense of humor. Maybe they like my humor in your face. They like the kids that run around.
That's true.
But like, because it's not really like one subject. We'll talk about everything. You know.
Today's just martial arts in general.
Yeah. So far it's about martial arts. We don't know where this is going.
Who knows?
That's right.
I don't know.
No, I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead though.
So there are components to things that are useful. However, we've evolved past that point where we can now leave that method of training that and adopt a much better method of training it that doesn't sacrifice all this other stuff just to learn this. Now we can learn it all at the same time. Mm-hmm. So now you can learn speed, power, technique, all in one training method instead of just learning speed or just power or whatever.
Can we agree that the greatest technique out there though is the thrust of freedom?
We can agree that. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, our podcast name, I think it'd be funny, like if we grow and people watch this, you know.
Yeah.
If you're like, hey, do you listen to useless knowledge?
Dude,
that'd be funny. No, anyway.
Listen, if I could go back in time to the beginning of my martial arts career, I would start a Maradote.
Stupid.
I would.
What about your
Come
sensei?
on.
I would do Rex Kwon Do. They need to make a video of them pairing
Where
off.
they like
Rex
go
Kwon and
against each
Amir.
other, yeah.
Either that or like interview each other. I don't know. Okay, so we kind of like kicked that hatchet, don't you think? Or do you just want to really just crap on them more?
I think traditional.
To be fair, I am not meaning any disrespect. I'm just trying to say you gotta open.
Depends on what you mean by respect. I don't respect traditional martial arts teachers who refuse to evolve and don't train themselves and don't progress and just bark out commands, are out of shape, never spar their students. There's elements of traditional martial arts teachers that I do not respect. I do respect someone who works hard at their craft.
That generally just doesn't know.
Right, maybe they just don't know or nobody's ever taught them anything otherwise.
Open their eyes to the bigger
But there's a
picture.
lot of people that aren't even searching. They take their students' dues and they teach them a bunch of crap that doesn't work. They give them belts. Here's the deal about belts. When you hand someone a belt, you're simultaneously, whether you realize it or not, you're handing them a certain amount of confidence that they're this good to be able to defend themselves in a bad situation. So you have kids walking around with brown belts on that think they're big stuff, and if they ever got in a pinch, they'd have no hope whatsoever. Be pinched. They just they may as well just roll over.
I'm with that. So okay, man, you got a couple things I want to add there. He's a real jerk. So, I have to say, no,
I'm literally just crapping on martial arts right now.
Martial arts is dumb. So he's not wrong in the idea of teachers doing that. Okay, now to say that that's what traditional teachers are is not entirely true. I don't think that's what you meant either. I just want to make sure for the people at home. That's not the idea.
For all three of you.
Oh, wait, I got 3 viewers?
Dude, that's 150% more.
Stupid. Okay, so to be fair, I want to say, if you go, because when I think of traditional guys, I think of like Heel Cho. Okay, for the people at home, Heel Cho is. He was a taekwondoist who wrote a lot of books.
I had his book when I was learning forms.
I think I took that book. No, I think I took the shop book.
You took a lot of my crap.
You took a lot of my crap.
You gave me a lot of your crap, actually.
I did, dude. But here, read this, or just hold on to this for me.
And I'd never read it.
No, he doesn't read books. He only reads one book, and to be fair, if he would read any book, that's the book to read.
That's true. The good book.
Well, it depends who you ask.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, the Holy Bible. We can go ahead, the elephant in the room. He reads the Bible.
That's right.
I listen to it. Well, mainly because
either way,
because I'm still getting information. Usually I'll listen to it when I drive, when I'm not thinking of useless knowledge. Anyway, so Heel Cho had a Taekwondo school, and here's what I'm talking about when we were talking about learning things and going outside the box. Is there's a guy named Horyon Gracie. You ever heard of him?
No, who's that?
For the people at home. No, he created one of the Gracies that brought Gracie Jiu-Jitsu to America. And he went to his school. He's in California, and he's like, "Hey, I want to teach jiu-jitsu here." And basically, Heel Cho and Horyon Gracie. This is according to Horyon Gracie. I wasn't there before my time, but according to Mr. Gracie, this is what happened: is they had a match, and he tapped him out a few times, and it made Heel Cho mad, and said, "Get out of here!" Right? Now, to be fair, that makes sense though. It's like, okay, I just got owned in front of my students. And some people do not have that. Probably hit his. If this is a true story, again, if it's a true story, that probably did hit his ego.
Yeah.
But I will say this though: if you go, he has a member. I almost joined him here a few years ago, and part of his curriculum now is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So when you do stuff like that, I give you points.
Yeah.
And he would work out with the students. He's and he would still spar. I'll tell you something. I don't want to ride the Wallace train again or be biased, but Wallace, he's a freak. Yeah. And I love you, by the way. You're a father figure to my hero. Yeah. You're a freak. This dude is still in amazing shape, still insanely flexible. He's 76, could do the full splits, no problem, Kick me in the head, I'm way taller than him.
He's the real deal.
He is the real deal. The thing is he still trains. and he still will interact. Now, does he go hardcore sparring? No, but he'll trade punch. He's taken harder kicks from me on his arm. He's like, come on, like he does. That you wouldn't take when we don't train anymore, but I train, but we don't train together really anymore. Yeah, he's a loser.
He did attack me the other night in the living room.
That was fun. Well, that sounds bad. His wife watched, so it's okay.
Yuck.
Anyway, she's making me food, so I better be careful.
Yeah, you better be.
No. Anyway, but you see, when you evolve like that, I think like Nakayama and all them. Now, Nakayama used to also do stuff with him, but the thing is they are so traditionalist. He's one of the, that's not Shotokan.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not really a fan of that. But I think you need to have a solid striking base and a solid grappling base if you want to be well-rounded.
Yeah, you need to...
I ramble too much. Episode 1.
You need to, like, if you're serious about training martial arts...
I just want to be good.
Not necessarily to compete, but if you're just serious about learning self-defense, you need to learn all elements. You need to know how to take someone down. You need to know how to grapple once you're on the ground, and you need to know how to strike while you're standing up.
You also want to know how to strike while on the ground and stop from being struck on when you're on the ground.
That's true. I think that's part of grappling.
Well, no. See, because if you go to, without giving names, your buddy, his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school.
Yeah.
We don't even know him. They don't really teach defending strikes. Because I'll have guys that come in and they're like, they have like, we'll just hold them. It takes a lot more than just holding them.
Yeah.
You know? So in traditional, normal BJJ schools, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu schools are really just about, it's basically judo with submissions. You know? Because even judo, they don't teach you how to defend punches. But I'm not.
Yeah, I mean that's an important component. I'm just saying that you need to know the ground, you need to know how to get to the ground, and you need to know how to stand up. And
I thought about doing stand up. I just keep falling down.
So if you're serious about martial arts, you should be serious about effectiveness, you know. And
what
so
happens?
if you're a well-rounded martial artist, you need to be effective no matter where you're at, on the ground, standing up, or clinched up against somebody.
What happens if you're never serious?
Then you just call podcast Never Serious, I guess.
If this one fails, that's our next one.
Oh, you're talking about like never serious as a martial artist?
I don't know. Some people say I'm not serious as a person.
Well, you're not. You're just like a ball of sarcasm.
What?
That meets a whole lot of crude.
I'm not crude. I'm not even sarcastic.
Of course, yeah. No.
Only a little child in a big body.
I'll say this though. One thing I tell people a lot is if someone had a gun to your head and you had to pick one martial art to learn, I would pick BJJ. Because I think
I would choose Hicks and Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. It's not the same thing.
Whatever. Jiu-Jitsu in general. Like, what most people know is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
And the reason
for the people at home.
Yeah. The reason is that most everybody can throw a punch, right? Whether you're trained.
Yeah, you're kind of born. Yeah.
Yeah, you may not be able to throw a really effective one, but you can throw a wide arc.
You're mimic just knowing how to and grab, and that's about it. Yeah.
But if you take someone down to the ground, there are some people who have kind of some natural wrestling ability.
Usually it's just turning though, just like get off,
pushing.
Yeah.
But just a small fraction of like 3 months of training BJJ, and you'll be able to dominate most people who have no training. So for self-defense wise, like the ability to just put someone on the ground and snap something is a whole lot more effective if you had to pick just one.
That's not really okay. So you only trained for what, 3 months doing jiu-jitsu that one time?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I was there for I had 1 month of BJJ training when I was like 16 or 17.
Okay, so here's the biggest load of nonsense about you. Is literally that's all he needed.
That's not all I needed. That's all I got. That's all I.
But here's the thing, though, like with that very little bit, that's like because I still actively train and actively learn, and he still does pretty good. Yeah, I don't know if you necessarily could submit me anymore unless you got me tired.
Yeah,
but
it'd take a lot. It would take a whole lot.
Yeah.
A whole lot of things would have to go my way.
You know, but you could definitely defend yourself off, and it's like you don't even actively work on. Like I feel like if you spent time like honing it, even just the stuff you knew, like you'd be. Like, we need to make you just have one fight. Like, hey, if he can hold off against me, and I'm like 3 in him, someone his size is just gonna die.
But it's not about like. There are people out there with natural talent. I don't consider myself someone with natural talent. What happened to me was I started sparring and grappling, although it was like very, I would say, unsupervised grappling, and it wasn't real jiu-jitsu that was being taught. But never.
Oh, are you talking about from the old school thing?
Yeah. When I was 14 years old, I was in a class with full-grown men, and so I did that. You know,
was Jack?
With Jack and
Hugh
and anybody who came, really. So I was dominated from the time I was like 14 to 17, 18 years old.
That's when I met you. I think you were at 17, 18, yeah.
So that, so because of that, I just picked up a lot of tricks through being smashed all the time. And there's a lot of things that are just ingrained in my reflexes because from the time I was 12 to the time I was like 26, all I did was martial arts. I didn't play sports. I didn't have hobbies really. All I did was train and teach.
He doesn't have a life. He does not.
I didn't back then, at least.
So you started when you were 12?
Yeah.
I started when I was 12.
You did, yeah.
He's older than I am. He's actually an old man.
I am. I'm 30 years old now.
For the people at home, 30 years old.
Just keep on hitting that one. Someone will laugh.
Well, you got to include people. I don't want people like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Useless knowledge.
That's true. It's really not really useless.
Yeah. So, I started when I was 12, and you got, 5 years on me? You'll be 31 this year?
Yeah.
So I'll be 26 this year.
Yeah.
So you were 17 when we met.
Yeah.
Dude.
That was when I was like a year into when I started teaching. They threw a black belt on me when I was 16 years old.
Yeah, they didn't do that to me. I didn't, matter of fact.
Very unresponsible for everybody. Do not throw black belts on your 16-year-olds and put them out in the
Now, the responsible thing to do, where's your black belt now?
It's in the trash. Well, it's probably in a landfill somewhere. Last class I taught, took it off
For
the
the people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea where it's at now. I train with a white belt on now. When I go to judo class, I wear a white belt.
He started up with judo again. He doesn't ever do that. You're not good enough for me. He hates me.
I trained downstairs a little. I still have a heavy bag.
Yeah, I'm teaching him how to slip and have head movement.
I've never been taught head movement before. He taught me head movement, and I have been adding it in my rounds.
I even teach him to do that, but that's no. So I got to a brown belt with that group, and what I did though is when he threw his away, and coincidentally I didn't know he had done this yet. Like he threw his away, I threw over here, I threw mine away over here, and then we just kind of like met up. I was like, "Hey, what's up, man?" It's like, "Hey, I had a good last class. I threw my crap away." It's like, "Did you wipe?" He goes, "No." Like,
I did not say that. I should have though.
You should have said that because I threw my black belt in the trash. I was like, "Dude, I threw my brown belt in the trash, but I threw mine in the room leading to the office."
Yeah, I probably threw mine away first though.
Yeah, you probably did, but we just didn't. I didn't know you did it until you told me. And by the time you told me, I'd done mine. But I also threw all my junk away, and I started over as a white belt too. But the thing is a lot of people hate doing this. Like, oh, I spent a lot of my years doing this, and I should have something to say for it, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, if I want to have something to say for it, I want to have something credible. And it just wasn't credible.
Yeah, if you haven't earned it.
It wasn't even a legit traditional. It claims of being a legitly traditional, but it was, even from a traditional school standpoint, it was garbage. Like, if fake instructor wasn't legit. Okay, so just to clarify that a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I restarted as a white belt and did the other stuff.
Yeah, I did keep my rank certificates though. I have my certificates of rank from the USMA.
I might. Oh yeah, I think I might have given mine to my grandmother.
I gave all my trophies and my old belts to my father, and the only reason I kept my rank certificates was for my dad, because in case he ever wanted them or something.
Well, aren't you a daddy's boy?
I'm telling you.
Yeah. I kept mine for your dad too. Just I do like your dad though.
Yeah,
I threw all my trophies away. For one though, for you guys, we have one of these days. Maybe episode 2 will be about my childhood.
Oh God.
So
that's gonna be a rough episode.
Well, it ain't gonna be that bad. I mean, I'm open. I tell you,
Yeah, I know that's the problem.
Well, it's better out than in, right?
I guess. Yeah.
No, but like knowing like Jen, I was like, I don't really have family that cares. I was like, my grandma might because she went to some of them, so I just gave her that stuff,
Yeah.
My dad's dead, so he doesn't get anything.
Hey, while we're crapping on everything everybody loves, what do you think about point fighting?
Well, shit, why don't we break that
throw it out there.
Yeah. So I think point fighting is okay as a for kids, and I think it's okay as a drill. I think I hate it when people was like, I'm a world champion. Dude, you get in the ring? Well, this karate tournament.
Yeah.
Because technically speaking, I love you, by the way, man. It's my bro. I love you. So he could probably hit me faster than I could, and I'm okay fast for
You're
mine.
pretty
Okay?
fast.
So he could probably hit me faster than I could hit him.
Yeah,
but
it wouldn't be good for me.
But with all due respect, if I did hit you, that would suck.
Yeah.
Right?
Suck a lot.
Now, from a point fighting perspective, well, he's better than me.
Yeah.
Because he hit me first.
Yeah.
And I think that's dumb.
Yeah.
I think the idea, and because you got people that's like, yeah, I'm this world champion, and blah, 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 Yeah. And it teaches unrealistic things.
Yeah, I think that
Point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's lame.
What it does is it incentivizes people to sacrifice vital portions of good defense and striking technique for a point to win a game.
Yeah.
So
really,
I think
it really is a game.
point fighting is essentially a sport. I'm not necessarily downing it as a sport. If you want to play it as a sport, like you play football or basketball or anything, and you don't take it seriously in the realm of fighting,
we don't play ping pong and claim to be world tennis champions.
I mean, maybe I could smack you in the face with a ping pong paddle really hard, but other than that.
Hey, remember that one time at church we did the ping pong and I had my nunchucks?
Yeah,
I popped that one
yeah.
and it hit you. I only hit the ball one time and it hit his shoulder.
Yeah.
He's like, oh frick!
But so what it does is like what I taught people when I had to teach point fighting because we were in the tournament circuit and my students would go compete, so I had to teach them how to point fight. So what I would do is I would make it very clear to them that point fighting is a sport and there's a specific way I'm going to teach you to throw these things so that you can win the game. And then when we practice continuous fighting, I would teach them how to throw strikes and move in a more defensive, well-rounded manner that you would actually use.
Right. The difference between how you did continuous, because again, he used to be my teacher, so I did some of his stuff,
Yeah, but he was taught by me before I really learned good martial arts, unfortunately.
Well, but
because I had to reconstruct what I knew.
But that's true. But that's also not entirely true, because now for the ADA guys, that is true. And I came from the ADA while you were teaching other places.
You did come to Ardmore with me, son.
And more than that, also I'd go to church with you and like rack your brain. Like I'm a horrible friend, by the way. Like just throw that out there. All I do is it's one-way friendship, man. No, I'll be in school, but like, hey, what would you do if you do this, or how do you do, all the time, yeah. But so in a sense, you did. But even when you would reconstruct yourself, because even now, I mean, I still always, hey, what do you think of this? But I've trained and I'm building up knowledge. I feel like we have a pretty level playing field. It just have different theories on things, but it's no more like. You know? Yeah. Oh, thanks, man. He used to be my first hero, ever.
Back when your standards were low.
They're still low, but you just going, man, I'm my hero now. That's messed up. That's good. But I mean, I'd follow you when I learned, jiu-jitsu and whatnot. Oh, my favorite thing is the advanced classes. Remember when they started that, like the once a month?
Yeah.
And like, all right, ready? Talk a good show.
Yeah, we had black belt meetings too once a month, and those were a joke.
My favorite thing is I was probably the only one in the history of that program that was a green belt that sat on a black belt. Yeah. Because the head of it let's be fair. I was
As long as you make him look good. Then...
Well, and I did. But it wasn't because of his teaching. It's because I was going to other places, you know. But to be fair, I was kind of like a mascot for the program.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah, you were the mascot after I was not the mascot. And see, so one of the things that it did, I say all of that. So for all of you at home.
That's right.
So to sum it up in a big package, I spent 12, well, I guess the last 2, not so much. I spent about 10 years of my life learning complete and utter garbage.
But I wanted to be a trash man.
But at the time, I didn't know it was utter garbage.
He wasted his life unintentionally.
10 years of my life.
I wasted my life because I had bad parental advice.
I'm talking about full-on committed, every single class, every single event, every tournament, at least once a month. 4 state titles in the OKA tournament circuit and all that stuff, right? So, like, I lived that crap. 10 years of my life doing that stuff. And then the last 2 is when I started to figure out stuff and I started to reconstruct. So it would all be bad except for one thing. One thing I got from all of that was I learned really well how to think about martial arts and how to think through techniques and analyze things and figure out why something works versus why it wouldn't work. Because I had to, because I had nobody to teach me and I knew what I was doing was wrong. So I had to figure it out, basically.
So you're saying the greatest martial art tool
is your mind.
Oh, I was kind of thinking of pen.
Yeah, well,
yeah, your
you
mind.
can write it down.
I could write it down. I only wasted 8 years. So, but in a sense though, not even that long, because I wanted to stay at that program because I wanted to help build it. So in that time, I'd already learned whys to it, and I'd go training elsewhere. So I'm in a school of garbage, as you said, but I was getting appropriate and actual legitimate training to complement it, you know, and we'd go back and forth though on things. So an interesting story is, I am the original person that realized that our instructor was a fraud and lying. I told him, I was like, listen, he told this story, and here's this evidence that this isn't true. And so what does he do? He's just like, oh, well, I'm going to go research it.
Wrap it up.
And, a word from our sponsor real quick. Hey, do you have anything for like your photography thing?
2 minute warning. 2 minute warning.
We're too poor to have that, but if you want pictures done, you need to do it with
Genesis Photography, Ralph, Oklahoma.
Yeah, because like at one point she even made me look good,
and that's tough.
Yeah, that's what my mom said. Hey, here's the baby. Is that it?
That's awful.
We're gonna take a moment for our sponsor, and then we'll be right back.